You ever look at your life and think, why does it feel like I'm running towards something that's always 10 steps ahead? You grind, you hustle, you stay up late, you read the books, you make the vision boards. You talk the talk, but deep down, something's missing. It's like success is always just out of reach, close enough to see it, but not close enough to touch. Let me tell you something right now. You are not broken. You are not weak, and you are definitely not alone. The reason success feels so far isn't because it is far. It's because you've been conditioned to measure success in a way that keeps it chained to the future. And as long as success lives over there, you'll always feel like you're failing right here. You see, we've all bought into a lie, a big one. We've been told success is a destination, something you arrive at when the stars align and everything finally goes your way. But that's not how life works. Life is messy, it's painful, it's unpredictable, and the ones who win aren't the ones who wait for the right moment. They're the ones who decide the moment is now. The first reason success feels so far is because you're waiting for permission. You're waiting for someone to tell you're good enough, smart enough, talented enough. You're waiting for likes, followers, applause, external validation that says, now you can move forward. But listen to me, you don't need anyone's permission to start stepping into your power. You don't need the perfect degree, the perfect connections, or the perfect past. All you need is a decision, a real one, a cut, the cord burn, the bridge kind of decision, because the day you stop asking for permission is the day you start claiming ownership of your life. The second reason success feels far is because your standard is survival, not excellence. Most people aren't chasing success. They're just trying to avoid failure, and there's a big difference. You can't live your life trying not to lose and expect to win big. If your mindset is, I just hope I don't mess up, then guess what? You're already playing small, you're already shrinking, and you're feeding the very thing that keeps success away, fear. Fear doesn't just paralyze, it camouflages itself. It shows up as procrastination, as overthinking, as the voice that says, maybe next week. But the truth, the enemy isn't the world, it's not your job, it's not the economy, it's you. When you settle for comfort over calling. When you trade excellence for excuses. The third reason success feels far is because your identity is outdated. Let's get real. You can't step into a powerful future while dragging around a powerless past. You can't call yourself a leader while still clinging to the identity of a struggler. Every breakthrough starts with a breakdown of who you used to be. If you keep identifying as the person who's trying to get there, then you're never going to feel like the person who already has what it takes. It's time to upgrade your identity. An identity isn't built in the big moments. It's shaped in the small ones. The moment you choose discipline over distraction, the moment you choose truth over comfort, the moment you do what you said you'd do, even when no one's watching, that's how you build belief. That's how you stop feeling like success is far, because you realize it's not somewhere else, it's within you. Now let's talk about action, because all the mindset in the world means nothing if you're not moving. The reason so many people feel stuck is because they're paralyzed by perfection. They think every step has to be perfect. Every plan has to be flawless, and every move has to guarantee a win. But life doesn't reward perfection. It rewards momentum. Success isn't about doing everything right. It's about doing something consistently. Action creates clarity. Action builds confidence. Action rewires your brain from I hope to I am. So if you're waiting for the perfect day, stop, it's today. If you're waiting to feel ready, stop. You won't if you're waiting for someone else to believe in you, stop. You're the one you've been waiting for. And finally, success feels far because you've forgotten what it really means. Success is not just the car. It's not just the house. It's not just the business, the money, the applause. Those things are results. Success is a feeling. It's the feeling of waking up and knowing you're living on purpose. It's the inner knowing that you showed up fully today. That you pushed when you wanted to quit. That you told the truth when it was easier to lie. That you honored your word, your vision, your calling. You don't need to wait 10 years to feel successful. You just need to choose to be aligned. Aligned with your values, aligned with your power, aligned with the part of you that refuses to settle. Because let me remind you of something. You didn't come here to play small. You were not designed for average. You were born with the ability to rewrite your story, to disrupt the cycle, to leave a mark. But none of that happens unless you wake up to this truth. Success is not something you chase. It's something you embody. And the moment you stop looking for it over there is the moment you find it inside yourself. Success feels far when you wait for permission instead of giving yourself power. Most people don't realize it, but they're living life with their foot on the brake while staring at the gas pedal. They're filled with potential, passion, and ideas, but they're stuck. And not because they don't know what to do, but because they're secretly waiting for someone else to tell them it's okay to go. They wait for a parent to approve, a teacher to acknowledge, a friend to validate, or a boss to recognize their value. And in the meantime, life keeps moving, doors close, and they stay in the same place, frustrated, uncertain, and disconnected from their own greatness. The truth is, the world is not going to come and give you permission. No one is coming to knock on your door and say, "You're ready now." That moment will never arrive unless you decide it already has. You were born with power, but along the way it was buried under layers of doubt, judgment, and fear. You started looking outward for answers that were always meant to come from within. And every time you hesitated, every time you questioned your worth, you gave away a little more of your power. It happens slowly, silently. You hold back your ideas in a meeting. You wait to post your content until it's perfect. You don't apply for the opportunity because you think someone else is more qualified. And you convince yourself that you're just being cautious, when really you're just scared that who you are might not be enough. So you wait. You wait for the sign. You wait for the moment. You wait for someone to look you in the eye and tell you that you're finally allowed to live fully. But that's not how transformation works. That's not how success is born. The people who create extraordinary lives aren't waiting. They're choosing. They choose to show up messy. They choose to speak even when their voice shakes. They choose to act even when they're afraid, because they know that no one can give them what they already possess. They don't need the world's permission. They've already given it to themselves. And when you flip that switch, when you stop outsourcing your authority, everything changes. You stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You stop chasing the approval of people who don't even believe in themselves. You stop asking, "Am I good enough?" and start declaring, "I am ready." This shift doesn't come from a single breakthrough. It's a daily choice. A moment-to-moment decision to reclaim your voice, your worth, and your direction. You have to catch yourself in the act. The moment you say, "I can't," ask yourself, "Who told me that?" The moment you think, "I'm not ready," ask, "According to whom?" Because you'll find that most of the limits you believe in weren't yours to begin with. They were inherited, passed down from fear, from conditioning, from other people's failures, and now they've been living rent, free in your mind, dictating what's possible. But when you see them clearly, you get your power back. You realize that you never needed permission to begin. You were always enough. You were always capable. You just had to remember who you were before the world made you forget. You can't win big by playing not to lose. That's the trap so many people fall into without even realizing it. They think they're being smart, being safe, being strategic. But what they're really doing is operating from fear instead of faith. They're focused more on avoiding mistakes than creating breakthroughs, more on protecting their current comfort than stepping into their potential. And so they build small lives, make small moves, take small chances, and convince themselves that it's wise to stay grounded when in reality, they're just scared to fly. Playing not to lose looks like indecision disguised as patience, hesitation masked as analysis, and silence dressed up as humility. It's the inner voice that says, "Don't speak up, don't stand out, don't take the risk, because what if you fail?" But the real question is, what if you don't? What if by always playing safe, you're actually risking the one thing you can't afford to lose, your purpose, You can't live a life of greatness while clinging to the need to always be right, to always be certain, to always be in control. Growth doesn't live in the familiar. It lives in the edge, the unknown, the leap. If you look at anyone who has built something meaningful, you'll find someone who is willing to fail forward, to fall, to feel the fear and move anyway. They didn't tiptoe around their dreams, they ran straight into them. They didn't make choices based on what would hurt the least. They made choices based on what mattered most. And that's what separates winners from watchers. Winners are willing to lose some battles on the way to their vision. Watchers are the ones who sit on the sidelines, hoping to win without ever entering the arena. When you play not to lose, you live reactive instead of proactive. You only act when pushed, speak when asked, move when forced. You wait for signs, for approval, for conditions to be perfect. And in the meantime, life passes. The world doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards boldness. Not recklessness, not impulsiveness, but courage, the courage to try, the courage to show up, the courage to give more of yourself than what comfort allows. Playing not to lose feels safe, but it's the most dangerous way to live. Because over time, it kills your hunger, dulls your instincts, and convinces you that small is smart. It convinces you that protecting what you have is more important than pursuing what you're capable of. And slowly, you stop stretching, you stop risking, you stop dreaming, you become a master of safety but a stranger to fulfillment, and you look around and wonder why nothing's changing, why success feels so far, why it seems like everyone else is getting ahead. It's because you're moving with the brakes on. You're more committed to not falling than you are to rising, but winning requires risk. It requires you to step when you're scared, to speak when you're unsure, to act when there's no guarantee. It requires you to lean into discomfort because discomfort is the birthplace of greatness. Every break through your chasing is waiting on the other side of a bold decision you've been avoiding, and the longer you wait, the further success will feel. Not because it's far, but because you're not moving toward it with the intensity it demands. Playing not to lose might keep you from short-term failure, but it guarantees long-term regret. And regret is the heaviest weight you'll ever carry. Your future can't begin until your old identity ends. The person you want to become is not compatible with the version of yourself you keep holding onto. The goals, the vision, the success you crave, they require a different operating system. But most people try to upgrade their life while running on outdated beliefs, broken habits, and stories that no longer serve them. They wonder why nothing changes, why results are temporary, why progress feels forced. It's because transformation doesn't happen when you add more to who you are. It happens when you release who you're not. And the toughest part of growth isn't learning something new. It's unlearning everything that's keeping you stuck. Your identity is built by repetition. It's built by the thoughts you believe, the emotions you feed, the choices you normalize. Every time you say, "I'm not good at that," or "that's just who I am," you reinforce a version of yourself that might feel familiar but isn't aligned with your future. Familiar doesn't mean right, comfort doesn't mean truth, and most of the time, the identity we defend the hardest is the one that was given to us, not chosen by us. Maybe you were told you're too quiet, too emotional, too average. Maybe you were raised to believe success is for other people. Maybe your past has convinced you that struggle is your default setting, but none of that defines you unless you keep wearing it like armor. The danger of clinging to an old identity is that it becomes a filter. You start seeing opportunities through the lens of limitation. You talk yourself out of bold moves. You water down your goals so they fit your current reality instead of stretching into your potential. You act from memory, not imagination, and slowly, without realizing it, you build a life that matches your past instead of your possibilities. The future demands a different version of you, one that's willing to step into the unknown, to rewrite the script, to say, "I'm not that person anymore." Even when the world expects you to be, the shift happens when you stop asking, "Who am I to do this?" and start asking, "Who do I need to become to do this?" That's where your power lies. Identity is not fixed, it's fluid. You're not stuck with the mindset you were raised with. You're not limited to the confidence you had in the past. You have the power to recreate yourself through daily action, deliberate decisions, and the willingness to let go of anything that doesn't match where you're going. It starts with awareness, awareness of how you speak to yourself, awareness of what you tolerate, awareness of the habits you defend. Because once you see the gap between who you are and who you want to be, you have a choice. Keep protecting the old you or start investing in the new you. The new identity isn't something you find, it's something you build, and you build it by acting like the future version of yourself now. How would that version of you speak, move, show up, respond? How would they handle pressure, failure, success? Every time you choose those behaviors, you're casting a vote for a new identity, and over time, those votes stack. They form a new belief system, a new standard, a new reality, but none of that is possible if you keep clinging to the labels, the limitations, and the language of who you used to be. Reinvention isn't a moment, it's a mindset. It's the willingness to evolve again and again, to trade certainty for growth, to outgrow your past even when it feels uncomfortable, to tell the truth about who you are and who you're not anymore. Perfection kills progress. Momentum is the real master. Most people never reach their goals not because they're not capable, but because they're waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, the perfect level of confidence. They keep telling themselves they'll start once things feel right, once they're more ready, once they're sure. But waiting for perfection is a form of procrastination disguised as preparation. It feels responsible, but it's actually fear in a costume. And while they wait, life moves on, opportunities pass, and the gap between where they are and where they want to be gets wider. Progress is built through motion, not magic. You don't need to know every step. You just need to take the next one. Momentum is what creates clarity. Action is what builds belief. It's not the perfect strategy that creates results. It's consistent effort, even when things are messy, uncomfortable, or uncertain. When you chase perfection, you live in your head. You analyze, overthink, and stall, but when you chase momentum, you live in movement, you make decisions, you learn by doing, you evolve through feedback, not fantasies. There is no such thing as the perfect start. The only perfect moment is the one you choose to move. Momentum is powerful because it compounds. One small win creates another. One act of discipline leads to more. One courageous decision strengthens your identity. You start building trust with yourself. You start proving to yourself that you're capable, not just in theory, but in action. Perfection doesn't build self. Belief, execution does. Momentum rewires your brain. It replaces doubt with proof. It replaces fear with data. You stop asking, "Can I do this?" and start realizing, "I am already doing it." But none of that can happen if you're stuck trying to make everything flawless before you begin. Trying to be perfect creates pressure. It makes everything feel heavier than it is. You overprepare, overplan, overcompare. You wait for the confidence to act, not realizing that confidence only comes from acting. The more you hesitate, the more you reinforce the belief that you're not ready. The more you wait for the stars to align, the more you convince yourself that success is somewhere far away. Momentum, on the other hand, teaches you that readiness is built, not found. It's something you create in the process, not something you wait for beforehand. Most breakthroughs come not from doing everything right, but from doing something long enough. Consistency beats intensity when intensity is inconsistent. It's not the perfect workout that transforms your body. It's showing up again and again. It's not the flawless business plan that builds a brand. It's taking messy, imperfect action every day. The path to success is paved with half-finished drafts, awkward first tries, and decisions made before you felt fully ready. Perfection tells you not to start until everything is certain. Momentum tells you to start and figure it out on the way. You don't need to know the whole staircase. You just need to take the first step, and once you do, the next one becomes clearer. The problem is, we've been trained to believe that making mistakes means we're failing. But in reality, mistakes are a sign that you're moving, that you're experimenting, that you're growing. If everything you do is comfortable and polished, You're not challenging yourself. You're just staying in the shallow end of your potential. The people who build powerful lives are not the ones who wait. They're the ones who move. They fall, they adjust, they adapt. But they keep going because they understand that progress, not perfection, is the path to mastery. Success isn't a destination, it's a decision you make daily. Most people treat success like it's a place they'll arrive at someday, a finish line they'll cross when they finally have the money, the fame, the recognition, the validation. They think it's somewhere out there, waiting in the distance, and all they have to do is keep pushing hard enough to reach it. But success doesn't work like that. It's not a moment you stumble into. It's not a trophy you pick up. It's a mindset, a commitment, a way of being. It's something you choose over and over again, especially when it's hard, especially when no one's watching, especially when it would be easier to quit. Every day, you're faced with decisions that either move you closer to the life you want or pull you further away. The choice to wake up early or hit snooze, the choice to create or to consume, the choice to lean into discomfort or retreat into excuses. Those decisions may seem small, but they add up. They shape who you become, because who you are isn't defined by what you say you want. It's defined by what you do when it's time to act. Success isn't built in big, dramatic leaps. It's forged in the quiet, often unseen choices that compound over time. There's a reason the people who truly succeed all seem to carry a different kind of energy. It's not luck, it's not talent, it's discipline, it's intention, it's the refusal to be casual about their future. They don't rely on motivation because they understand that motivation fades. They rely on commitment. They make success non-negotiable. They treat it like a responsibility, not a wish. And because of that, they build lives that reflect clarity, purpose, and alignment. They make the decision to be successful long before the world ever notices their effort. The trap is thinking that success is something that will one day just happen, as if it arrives with a single achievement, a viral moment, or a big break. But the reality is, most of what looks like overnight success is actually the result of years of invisible decisions, private sacrifices, and moments of doubt where they still chose to show up. Success is built when no one's clapping, when you're tired but still moving, when you've failed but still believing. It's not glamorous, it's gritty, it's not loud, it's relentless. It doesn't show up because you wish for it. It arrives because you've earned it through daily alignment with who you said you want to become. And the moment you stop deciding, you start declining, because there is no neutral. You're either moving forward or you're slipping backward. You're either building discipline or building regret. You're either choosing your power or giving it away. Each day is a vote. Each action is a statement. Each thought is a seed. And the compound effect of those daily decisions is what determines your reality. You don't become successful when the world tells you are. You become successful the moment you start living like the person who already is. That's the secret most people miss. They think they have to wait until they feel successful to act like it. But you don't wait for the feeling. You generate it through action. You embody the standard before the result shows up. You show up with excellence even when no one notices. You give your best even when no one is watching. You decide that no matter how long it takes, you'll keep choosing the habits, the mindset, the courage that success demands. You decide that this isn't just what you do, it's who you are. And that decision, made daily over time, becomes the life you once dreamed of.